empower women. The founder of Girl Up Rise, UN Foundation collaboration to empower women across the world. She is also the volunteer coordinator for Pratishandi and is now an active volunteer. Could you please now come to the panel and speak to us?
Hi everybody, welcome to this amazing session. I'm Anya, and today I am going to teach you a little about public speaking. Of course, I am no professional, and this is all from my experience, and I may be right about some things, I may not be right about some things, but I guess this is a session where you guys get to learn a lot, and I will of course get to learn a lot along the process. One thing that I would want to say before we even start is I have also been at your place, and I am also someone who sort of got equipped with this skill throughout these years, and I'm no expert again, but I'm sure that there is no bad public speaker. Somebody just gets better with time. So that's something that I would like to say, and of course we are going to tackle a lot of things today, and we're going to talk about a lot of things that are very, very important for a public speaker. I am also going to talk about different scenarios where you can use all of this. So maybe while telling you about something related to speech, I might say, oh, if you're in this kind of scenario, this is what you can do, and stuff like that. Today's session is going to be divided into two very broad headings, speech and body language. Under speech, we'll be talking about different things from, say, something as small as starting how to write, something that you have to say, and towards the end, how to say it. And of course, from body language, we're going to talk about how to be when you're addressing a large gathering or even a small gathering, because I don't think public speaking means that you have to address a gathering of like 500 people. It could simply be you talking to someone outside or you talking to another person, because you're still addressing that person. So yes, we will start now. Public speaking, I believe, is a whole body affair, and according to research also, it is one of the most common fears that people have is that of public speaking and of speaking in general, and the anxiety that one feels before addressing a huge gathering or addressing each other. So this is what we are going to tackle, and we will probably at the end of this session be equipped enough to if not completely eradicate, but reduce that kind of fear. And another thing that I feel is very important is for us to recognize that it's okay to be a little scared of speaking in public, and that it's okay to feel anxious or nervous before a speech, because trust me, even the best of public speakers, even the biggest presidents or people who are addressing large gatherings, diplomats, everybody gets a little hesitant and nervous before they're supposed to address a big gathering, because they know that the kind of speech that they're going to give and anything that they say has a lot of impact and is going to impact a lot of lives. So it's all right for you to be nervous, but it's equally important for you to address that nervousness and acknowledge that, okay, this is something that I have. It's a fear that I have, or I am feeling nervous, I am feeling anxious, because you can only tackle something that you address, right? So yes, talking about speech, it's very important for you to realize that it's not only important how you speak, but the kind of matter that you give is equally important. So if you're talking about an important issue, even if you're using flowery language, it will not matter as much as the content of that of the speech that you're giving. Something that I generally tell MUNers or people who are going for debates is have your research ready at a place and then start making pointers. So a lot of times you have to give long speeches, right? And say, for example, you're reading like 3 paragraphs out of a sheet of paper. You will probably not be that impressive if you remember the entire thing. And it's okay, because you can't remember and sort of rote learn speeches. A lot of times they are impromptu. A lot of times you kind of see the mood of the audience and change things. So you don't have to rote learn things, but the thing that you can use is how to make pointers. So say, for example, your speech is 3 or 4 paragraphs long. Start identifying points that you think are very important, and also points that you think you will remember. Very recently, I gave an example of, say, for example, somebody asks you, what's your favorite chips, or what's your favorite kind of chips brand. So what you're going to probably say is, okay, my favorite chips are Lay's. The flavor is onion, and the color is green. So these three things are very important. But if I would have written these lines and I would have remembered it, it would have taken me long. But if I can just remember the brand name, the color, and the flavor, I have it all in front of me, right? So pointers are very, very important. So before giving a speech, write down pointers in a piece of paper before giving a speech. So if there are a lot of people speaking before you, or even if they're not, I would say that take the last 2 minutes before your speech to calm yourself down. Go through these points, probably read them out loud, probably go over your speech in your head, probably talk to someone and give your speech to that person. But make sure that these pointers are not really, really long sentences. So I've seen a lot of times people forget what they have to say next, right? We're really nervous that, oh, I might forget the order, I might forget something really important. But if you have pointers written in front of you, even if you forget, you just look at that one word and it's going to help you. I don't know how many of you have given board exams, and I don't know how many of you are social science students, but if you are, you will probably relate to what I'm saying when I say that, oh, you have answers worth 4 pages, and you can't rote learn 4 pages unless you know the important headings. So this is something that's very, very important for you to structure your speech. And that's how you go about structuring your speech. Make sure that you're not a person who has this huge print of your speech and you're looking down and reading. Because when you look down, your voice sort of goes down. So when you're addressing the audience, this is something that, of course, we'll cover later about sort of having an interaction with the audience and looking them in the eye. But it's very important for you to look up while you're talking. And say, for example, you have a piece of paper like this small diary that I have. You can just hold it over here if and when you need it. Because I'm addressing you, but I can also look at the points that I might have written over here. So make sure that you're not looking down and reading. Make sure that you're straight and you're addressing your gathering. And even if you skip a point, that's completely okay. It's very, very important for you to know that there are people who stumble, who fumble, who might forget points. But in that moment, you're not supposed to feel like I've messed up everything. You're supposed to take a step back, probably breathe for 5 seconds and move to the next point, or move to the points that you do remember, because it's only you who know your own speech, right? So somebody who hasn't heard it before will never understand the things that you skipped, or will not judge you on the things that you skipped. So if you can, don't get hassled in the moment. Try and maintain your calm, because while addressing a gathering, it's very, very important for you to be very calm and maintain your posture, even if you know that there's something going wrong, or say, for example, a technical glitch happens, if the electricity goes off, or you have a presentation in the back and it stops playing. You have to be equipped enough to remember some of the things that were there in the presentation till the time it comes back, or be impromptu enough to interact with the audience till things are getting fixed. So maintain your calm, even though that it's possible that you have a lot of things going on in your mind, but your presence of mind plays a very, very important role. The way that you give your speech is something that is very, very important. So I don't know how many of you have compared before in your life, but I remember one trick that I was taught in school. So say, for example, there is a particular word that you have to pay a lot of emphasis on, or there is a switch in paragraph, or there is a switch in theme about what you're talking. Pauses are something very, very important. And the kind of voice modulation that you have is also very important. While interacting with you, you will also see that I have voice modulation. I am pausing at bits that I think are very important. And I'm also not going slow enough for you to lose focus. Neither am I going fast enough for you to lose focus. So make sure that you take enough pauses and divide your speech in such a manner that people keep track of what you're saying and also paying attention to what you're saying. A trick to do this is, say, for example, you have your speech written in front of you. Just make these bars in front of things that you think are very important, or things that you want to take a pause. This is a strategy that you can probably use for a speech that's prepared beforehand, while you're practicing, or while you're giving a speech to someone before you actually give the real speech, or you're practicing in front of the mirror. you're recording yourself, any of those things, make sure that you are paying attention to the pauses that you're taking, because a lot of times people will skip the adverbs, the adjectives, or the sentences, but will listen to the last word of the sentence, or will listen to what you said when you paused. So right now I'm doing that. I'm doing exactly that. I'm making sure that I pause at the points where I want you to take a second and sink in what I have said. So pauses are something that are very important. Voice modulation, I feel like, is something that does come with experience and that does come with time. So, like I said, none of us are born really good public speakers. It's something that we gain after speaking so many times, after maybe picking up things and skills from other people who we've heard. So, what I would say is, if you know that, oh, I really look up to this person, he's such a good orator or she's such a good orator, find them on YouTube. Look at these TED Talks, look at these speeches given by presidents or diplomats or sort of representatives of political parties, listen to the people from the UN, but to those people who actually keep you engaged, who, while you're listening to, you're not looking at your phone or you're not listening to someone else or scrolling on Instagram. People who actually catch your attention, look at the things that they're doing and try and pick up those skills. Of course, I'm giving you a list of things that you can do, but how I probably address a gathering is going to be very different from how you do it, and all of us are going to have unique styles. So this is something that I feel like one should definitely do. Clarity. While you're speaking, make sure that you're not speaking like this, that you can only understand what you're saying. You probably didn't hear what I said. So I'm saying that when you're speaking, make sure you're loud and clear enough. This is again something that comes only with time, and it will come with practice, especially with speeches that you can prepare beforehand. I would definitely recommend going through those speeches with someone or by looking in the mirror. I think that's the best thing that you can do. Look in the mirror and practice. You yourself will probably realize that, oh, I don't think that was a good way to say it. Maybe I can sort of add this exclamation. Maybe I can add this emotional context to it. So make sure that you are sort of practicing these things, but in something like an impromptu speech or a debate where you're just given the topic on the spot. It's very, very important for you to be clear while you're making your points, because your research might be A1, your vocabulary might be A1, but if you don't address the gathering in a proper way, they will A, not listen to what you're saying, and B, they will probably not even write what you're saying, because they can't figure it out, and nobody can stop you in the middle and say, oh, can you please repeat? Nobody really does that, especially for public speaking. If you're not at an informal setting, nobody is going to stand up and say, oh, I skipped that point. Skipping a point also means that they may or may not listen to the rest of your speech, because they might not be able to draw the connection. So there has to be a constant pressure on you from yourself to be clear and to be very, very calm, of course, and to make pauses. This is something that I feel like speech really requires. Another thing that there is there that I want you to focus on is, of course, your confidence. Um, Confidence is key to anything and anywhere that you are. Create a group discussion, be it an MUN, be it your speech, be it your farewell speech, your, I don't know, inauguration speech, any sort of speech that there is. People really, really admire public speakers who have a lot of confidence, and confidence will only come when you're prepared, right? So if you have your speech ready, if you have your pointers ready, and you know you're going to ace it, because why not? All of us can ace our speeches, and I know that you guys have the potential to ace it, so then why not? Confidence is also very important for you to realize that you're not going to mess up. So if you're confident, there is nothing in the world that can take away from your speech. You will address the gathering, you will be strong, and you will be focused, and you will be in the time zone. This is this piece of advice that I'm going to give is probably for a place where you have to answer question and answers, or for an MUN where people ask you points of information, or for a group discussion, or for even an interview. There are two things that you can do when somebody asks you a question. A, you know the answer and you know how to respond, then you respond. B, you don't know the answer to something. So that has two sub points. you very confidently say that, oh, this is all I know. Tell them a little about what you know, and then say, I don't know this, and I would want to research more on it. And if you can play it smart, of course, I don't recommend this, but if you can play smart, talk about the things that you know around it, revolve around the point, and try playing with the answer. Try connecting it to other things that you might know. And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, because if somebody knows that you're confident, they might just believe that you know it, but you just don't know how to say it. So confidence is key when somebody's asking you questions. And trust me, your answer, a very big part of your answer, then of course the content of your answer does depend on the kind of confidence that you have. If you very confidently reply to someone, they might not even ask another carry forward question to the previous one. They will move on. And that's something that you need to have, especially for group discussions. Be very confident when you're speaking and try to catch hold of the people. There are going to be people who are probably more smart. There are going to be people in the room who are really, really good public speakers, but your confidence and your knowledge set you apart from this. So if you know how to lead the debate in a particular direction, that's going to help you a lot. Even if you don't have A1 points, of course, knowledge is very, very important, but it's equally important to put them across in a proper way. So that's something that you can do. All of this was in regards to speech. Something that I'm going to come next to is your body language. Of course, your head has to be straight and your spine has to be straight. You cannot probably uh, probably go from side to side like I'm doing right now. You can't look down. You cannot be fidgety with your fingers, and you can't tap your feet. These things just show your nervousness. And that's what I'm trying to say, that it's all right for you to be nervous, but try not to show it to the world that you're nervous. So it's very, very important for you to have a good posture while you're speaking. Eyes is something that I want you to focus on. It's very, very important for you to have a connect with the audience. So even if it's a gathering with 500 people, you don't have to look everybody in the eye, but look through them. This might sound funny, but maybe somebody's sitting in front of you. Maybe there are 15 people who are sitting in front of you, or 50 people who are sitting in front of you, and you have to address them. So while looking at them, don't really focus on them and what they're doing, but just try and look through them. Just try looking from right to left. And especially when you're making a very important point, try and target a group of people or a particular direction when you're looking at them. Because this is something that we all know. If a teacher is teaching and if she looks at you and tells you, you feel like she's talking to you directly, and you will definitely pay more attention. So if you have a direct contact with the audience and you make sure that they're invested and interested in what you're saying, they will listen to you. They will listen to you with all eyes, because they know that you can see what they're doing. And it's very disrespectful for them to play with their phones or look around or talk to someone else. So the contact with the audience, makes sure that they are interested, and also keeps them from diverging and not listening to you. Um, Mic. This is something very important. I don't know if all of you face this problem or not, but this is something that I've noticed. A lot of times people don't know how to hold a mic. It might be too close to their face or too far away. Try holding your mic in a way that you're not too close, not too far. Test it. It's fine. You can do a test. You can say, hello, can everybody hear me? You can say, is the mic working? Something like that. Don't keep it here. Keep it at a level where you direct. It's not covering your face, but it's diagonal to your face. Again, this is a skill that will come only with time. Or looking at people. Try YouTubing these things, looking at people, how they hold their mic. So that's very important, because the kind of voice that will come out through the speaker honestly depends a lot on how you're holding the mic. And be confident, because you would probably have a mic in one hand and you'll probably have your notepad or chippad in the other, but that shouldn't sort of make you a little confused about, oh, I don't know how to focus on, what should I focus on, holding the mic or looking at the notes. If you maintain your calm and if you have a good presence of mind, these things are going to be so easy that you will probably not even notice that both your hands are already occupied. If your hands are not occupied, if you're probably addressing without a mic, or if you don't have a notepad or a chickpad, something that I highly recommend is using hands. While I'm talking to you, it's very natural for me to use hand gestures. Might come naturally to some people, might not, but it's just very, very engaging for the audience, right? So the audience will only be as engaged as you are. They will only be as enthusiastic as you are. So enthusiasm is something that I feel is very, very contagious. So it's as easy as a yawn, right? So if somebody starts yawning, everybody in the room, everybody starts yawning. It's that contagious. But if you're up and about and you're very active and you're constantly interacting, probably questioning them, they are going to be as active as you are, because you're putting them on their feet. So if you're on your feet all the time, you will make sure that the audience is also on their feet, and their instincts are working, they're listening to you, and their minds are constantly working. So this is another part of audience engagement that you do definitely have to keep in mind. um, One more thing that I want to say is, do focus on things that you're good at. So if it's not a very formal setting, if in terms of what you exactly have to state, if you're someone who's good at literature or has a very good vocabulary, start with a quote. If you think you have a lot of incidences to share, start narrating with an incident. If you think you're very funny, start with a joke. I would definitely say that you need to have your own sort of unique way of addressing people. Don't directly jump into your main things. Address them in a way that you're sort of building them and building up to a point. This again might be an advice for people who go to debates or anyone's, but a very important thing that I always tell people is there are three things that a speech should cover if you're talking about a particular topic. Of course, introduction to the topic, the problems, the impact, and the solution. So that makes your speech very, very wholesome, and it has a particular structure. So you say that because of global warming, if you're talking about global warming, you say, okay, global warming is the global increase in temperature, blah, 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 blah. This is how it happened. Two lines. Then you say, these are the problems that people are facing because of global warming. There is an annual increase in temperature, wildlife is affected, human beings are affected, UV rays, all of those things. You mention those points. So this is how you cover problems, and you have also told them the impacts. Okay, this is what is happening. Impact could be something as simple as, oh, people are getting cancer, people are not getting enough oxygen, wildlife is dying. And then the solution is, oh, we need to follow sustainable development goals. We need to make the world a place where we are not only moving forward, but sustainably moving forward. So do you realize that you have a particular structure? The audience is not going to get lost. So you're not talking about global warming and saying, oh, sustainable development goals. You lead them to a particular point, and no matter what the setting is, no matter where you are, no matter who you're addressing, if you structure your speeches in a way that you can lead them to your most important point, nobody will get lost in it. I'm just going to see if you've skipped anything else. Yes, something that a lot of people do is don't apologize at the beginning of your speech. Don't start by, oh, I'm sorry, can you hear me? Don't start on a hesitant note. If you want to test the mic, say, can everybody hear me? Don't say things like, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I don't know this. Don't let it come on your face, because if you sort of get hesitant and nervous, they'll start questioning, oh, does this person even know what they're doing? Why are they there? Is everything fine? They will question you from the starting. So make sure that especially your opening remarks are full of confidence. And another thing that I want to say about speech is time management is something that's very, very important. Don't rush, don't go too slow, but also don't make your speech very long and boring. So when I talk about points, it's okay if you skip on the big words, and it's okay if you don't have these long paragraphs talking about the beauty of the world and the beauty of your speech. Try being a little more informative but precise also. And yes, be yourself. Focus on the central theme. Don't beat around the bush. Focus on what you have to say and why you're standing there. Nobody cares about facts and stuff that they can find on the internet. Make sure that your research is as good as your analysis. And yeah, I guess that is it.